A Course in Miracles Workbook, Lesson 86. Our review for today will cover these ideas from Lessons 71 and 72.
Lesson 86 is a review lesson. It helps you remember Lesson 71, being only God's plan for salvation will work, and Lesson 72, which is holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. These lessons teach that God has a loving plan to help everyone feel peaceful and safe. This plan always works. They also teach that holding on to anger or grudges gets in the way of this plan. Grudges make peace harder to feel. Lesson 86 reminds you that letting go of anger helps love do its job. This lesson helps you practice choosing forgiveness so peace can return to your heart and mind.
Lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work.
God's plan for salvation is the only plan that works because no other plan can save us. Every other plan is focused on things outside of us and is designed to fail. These plans distract us from looking at our own minds, where both the problem and the solution are found.
It makes no sense for me to search everywhere for salvation. I have looked for it in people and things, but when I reached for it, it was never there.
We have followed the ego's plan of seek but do not find. No matter where we look, we always feel disappointed. The things we thought would save us, special relationships, success, or material things, will always fail because they were made to keep us searching instead of finding the truth.
I was wrong about where salvation is. I was wrong about what salvation is.
Jesus wants us to see how foolish it is to chase after special things to make us happy. He asks us to stop and forgive ourselves for these mistakes. Only then can we understand that specialness will never bring peace. When we honestly look at the way we have searched for happiness without judgment, we can make a new choice to seek salvation instead of specialness.
I will stop looking for salvation in the wrong places. Only God's plan will work, and I will be happy because His plan cannot fail.
At last, we decide to stop wasting time searching for what cannot be found. We choose the path of forgiveness because only that will lead us home. In this choice, we find salvation and joy.
God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this.
If something is making me upset, I must remember, the problem is not outside of me. The problem is how I see it. If I am upset, I have chosen the ego's way of seeing. God's plan tells me to change my mind. More specifically, it tells me to choose a new teacher.
There are no exceptions in God's plan for my salvation.
The principle of forgiveness always works. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. No matter how big or small a problem seems, forgiveness will always remove the pain.
Let me see this only in the light of God's plan for salvation.
When I ask Jesus to help me see through His eyes, I no longer see problems as real. Instead, I see them as opportunities to forgive and be free.
Lesson 72. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation.
Jesus now takes us a step further and shows us that when we are angry, we are fighting against salvation.
Holding grievances is trying to prove that God's plan will not work, but only His plan will work. By holding grievances, I'm rejecting my only hope of salvation.
My only hope is to take full responsibility for my own suffering. When I feel miserable, it is because deep down, I believe I am a guilty sinner who deserves pain. To be saved, I must return to my mind and correct my original mistake.
I do not want to hurt myself anymore.
I no longer want to fight against my own best interests. I want to accept God's plan and be happy. When I finally see how much my wrong choices have hurt me, I will want to choose differently.
Gladly practice this lesson. I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look at this. If I see a reason to hold a grievance, I will not see my salvation. This calls for salvation, not attack.
Every situation in my life, past, present, or future, gives me the chance to choose forgiveness instead of attack. If I choose the ego, I see a world of grievances and pain. If I choose the Holy Spirit, I see a world of forgiveness and peace. Because I want to be happy, I will choose to forgive.
Lesson 71. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Lesson 72. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation.